Do you think a single weapon could terrify monsters and protect an entire world? In Norse mythology, that weapon is Mjölnir, the hammer that returns to its owner like fate itself. And the one who wields it is Thor, the god of thunder, the shield of Asgard, and the giant slayer every enemy fears. But Thor isn't a distant, perfect god. He's raw power, storm, strength, and stubborn courage, charging straight into danger when everyone else hesitates. When giants threaten the gods, when monsters crawl toward the walls of the world, Thor doesn't negotiate. He swings. In this story, you'll follow Thor through the myths that made his name legendary. The day his hammer was stolen and he had to outsmart a giant to get it back. The terrifying moment he hooked the Midgard Serpent, and the humiliating trials where even Thor's strength was tested by illusion and fate. Because Thor isn't just the thunder you hear. He's the thunder that stands between the world and chaos. Thor's story is the story of a protector who never gets to rest. In the Norse world, the greatest threat isn't a rival kingdom or a human army. It's chaos, the endless pressure of the Jotnar, the giants, and the monsters that live beyond the borders of safety. Asgard stands because someone is willing to meet that chaos head-on. And that someone is Thor. Thor is not the kind of god who rules with words. He rules with presence. When he appears, the air changes. Storm clouds gather. The ground trembles. And in his hand is the weapon that defines him, Mjölnir, a hammer forged by dwarves, carried with iron gloves, and feared across the 9 realms because it always returns to Thor's grip. Wherever Thor walks, the message is simple. The walls still stand. But even the strongest defender can be tested in the worst way possible, by being disarmed. One day, Thor wakes and reaches for Mjölnir, and it's gone. The loss is more than embarrassment. Without the hammer, Asgard is vulnerable. Giants don't just want to fight Thor. They want the world without Thor. So Thor turns to the only person slippery enough to solve a problem like this: Loki. Loki doesn't love Thor, but Loki loves a crisis. He borrows Freya's falcon cloak and flies into the giants' lands to search for the truth. And the truth is humiliating. The giant Þrymr has stolen Mjölnir and hidden it deep underground. He makes a demand that sounds like an insult carved into stone. He will only return the hammer if the gods hand over Freya as his bride. When Freya hears this, she refuses with fury. The gods panic. Asgard needs Mjölnir back, now. And that's when the plan becomes legendary, because it becomes ridiculous. The gods decide Thor must go to Þrymr's hall disguised as the bride. Thor, the strongest god in Asgard, must wear bridal clothes and sit through a wedding meant to shame him. Loki, of course, becomes the bridesmaid, talking fast enough to cover every suspicious moment. In Þrymr's hall, the giants celebrate, and Thor is forced to hold still until the feast begins. The bride eats and drinks like a storm. Þrymr notices. Loki quickly explains it away. The bride has been starving for days from excitement, but Þrymr still wants proof. He leans in to lift the veil, and he sees Thor's eyes, burning with rage. Loki saves the moment again. The bride hasn't slept for nights, her eyes are wild with anticipation. The tension climbs until the final ritual arrives. The hammer is brought out to bless the marriage, and the second Mjölnir touches Thor's lap, the comedy ends. Thor grips the hammer, stands up, and the hall turns silent. Then thunder answers. Thor doesn't negotiate, he doesn't forgive. He takes Mjölnir back the only way Thor knows how, with force. The giants who thought they had humiliated the thunder god realized the truth too late. Mjölnir was never just a weapon. It was the border between them and survival. But Thor's greatest enemy is not a giant with a plan. It's a monster tied directly to the end of the world. In another legendary tale, Thor goes on a fishing journey with the giant Hymir. The sea is dark and endless, and Thor rows farther than Hymir dares to go. When Hymir warns him to turn back, Thor refuses. He is hunting something older and more dangerous than pride: Jörmungandr, the Midgard Serpent, the world serpent that coils around the earth itself. Thor prepares bait, massive and gruesome in the old tellings, and drops the line into the deep. The water goes still. Then the sea lurches as if the ocean itself has been hooked. The serpent rises, a scale of reality breaks. Waves tower. The sky darkens, and Thor pulls with everything he is. This isn't a normal fight. This is a preview of Ragnarök. Thor's feet dig into the boat. His muscles lock. The line tightens like destiny. For a moment, Thor and Jörmungandr stare at each other, God and apocalypse. And then, Just as Thor is ready to strike, Hymir panics. He cuts the line. The serpent sinks back into the deep alive. It's one of the most frustrating moments in Norse myth because it tells you something important. Even Thor's strength cannot force fate to end early. The serpent escapes because it is not meant to die yet. Thor's power is real, but the universe has rules. And sometimes the universe tests Thor in another way. Not with monsters, but with illusion. Thor and Loki travel and end up in a strange realm connected to Utgard the Loki, where everything is built to make them fail. Thor is challenged to prove himself, and the trials seem simple, until they aren't. He's asked to drink from a horn and can't empty it. He's asked to lift a cat and can barely raise it. He's asked to wrestle an old woman, and he loses. For Thor, it's humiliating. For the audience, it's shocking. How can the god of thunder struggle like this? Then the truth is revealed. None of it was what it seemed. The horn was connected to the sea itself. The cat was actually a disguised form of Jörmungandr, so large that lifting it even slightly was a cosmic feat. And the old woman was old age, something no one can defeat. The lesson hits like a quiet thunderclap. Thor can smash giants, but he can't smash reality's deepest laws. Yet Thor keeps going, because that is who he is. He is the defender who fights even when the fight is unfair, even when the enemy is destiny itself. Every myth circles back to that same idea. Thor stands between the worlds and the forces that want to swallow them. And all roads lead to one final meeting, one last collision between thunder and the serpent. Ragnarök. And that's what makes Thor more than a symbol of power. Thor isn't the god who wins by being clever. He's the god who wins by showing up, again and again, when the world needs a shield. When Mjölnir is stolen, he endures humiliation just to bring protection back to Asgard. When the Midgard Serpent rises from the deep, he doesn't flinch, even knowing that monster is tied to the end of everything. And when illusion tries to break his pride, Thor keeps moving because his strength isn't just muscle, it's resolve. In Norse mythology, even the gods can't escape fate. Ragnarök is coming whether anyone is ready or not. And Thor's legend points toward the final truth. The thunder god will meet Jörmungandr one last time. He will strike the serpent down, and he will fall soon after, proof that this story was never about living forever. It was about being the one who stands in front. So when you hear thunder in Thor's world, it isn't just noise in the sky. It's a warning to giants, monsters, and chaos itself. As long as Thor can raise Mjölnir, the gates of the world are not open.